You're listening to DraftKings Network.
The sizzle of McDonald's sausage. It's enough to make you crave your favorite breakfasts. Enough to head over to McDonald's. Enough to make you really wish this commercial were scratch and sniff.
And if you're a sausage person, now get 2 satisfyingly savory sausage McGriddles, sausage biscuits, or sausage burritos for just $3.33. Or mix and match. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Everyone is talking about magnesium. It's all you hear about. But why? What do we know about magnesium? Well, magnesium is the #1 mineral that 75% of Americans are deficient in. If you are a woman over 35, magnesium will help you rediscover balance, energy, and vitality. Magnesium supports more than 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, including those involved in hormonal balance. From functional medicine doctors to mental well-being and female hormone experts, we all know that magnesium is the one mineral to improve all aspects of well-being and health. But which one? Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers, the trusted choice recommended by leading experts with 7 best-absorbed forms of magnesium to ensure your body receives the support it needs for overall well-being. Go to bioptimizers.com/balance today and use code BALANCE10 for 10% off. Support your journey to wellness at bioptimizers.com/balance. Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers, your foundation to optimal health and vitality.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
This is quite the interesting thing that the Chiefs have in their locker room that they don't totally want in their locker room. And when you've got the kicker making the noise that makes him a national figure because he says the controversial things, and then the quarterback and the coach who are famous at not saying anything because they don't want to add to the distraction by forcing the headline, Mahomes, has something terrible to say about teammate. You get a whole bunch of people who suddenly, very tough, strong people, don't have opinions on shit. It's kind of amazing to watch. Like, these are very strong human beings right up until they've got to test the team huddle and look like they're not supporting a teammate and put sort of the unity of the huddle ahead of all other things.
This is why men belong in the kitchen.
Men belong in the huddle. Welcome back, Lucy. Are you, when I came in, Matt Kugler, who works on South Beach Sessions, kind of spit at me upon your arrival. You live in a hellhole, Dan, that there's always a truck on fire on I-95 and it's 140 degrees. And we all live here now. How have you guys felt about the recent heat surge that has the streets feeling like 108 degrees? I had to bring my dog in the other day because he didn't want to be walking on asphalt.
Oh.
I've actually been in Portland. I landed 2 hours ago, but I'm here right now and I won't be going outside.
Okay, but I was told that you at least dressed for hot weather because you were told there's no air conditioning in here.
Yeah, I did the full routine in the airport bathroom this morning. By the way, what a great girlhood moment. We're all sitting there, everyone's brushing their teeth, doing their makeup, all of us on red eyes. Like, it was really a special moment.
I took girlhood moment completely different from where you went.
Hell yeah.
Amin is the king of the red eye. Amin is with us. Stugotz is here working on God Bless Football things. He will be around in just a moment. Welcome back, JuJu. You flew in and out. Did you do that to simply go to a WNBA game? Or?
Exactly. I spent hundreds of dollars just to support my Atlanta dream. I put my money where my mouth is. I don't just get on the microphone and spew. You dig me? Salute to my sister Ryan Howard pulling in a W the other night.
Well, I'm late in getting to this conversation. I will get to what happened in hockey last night and in basketball, but the end of the last game with Caitlin Clark and Charles Barkley rushing to her defense, saying, stop being petty with this woman. What is fair and unfair about the end of that last game where there was a technical, a turnover, and some stuff that happened that can't happen but is going to happen sometimes early in someone's career?
Well, she's been having, this is 2 games ago because the Fever played last night in Seattle and they lost. So they're 0-5 right now. 2 games ago at the end of the game, Caitlin had a take foul and then got a technical for swearing at the ref, which is something that she did do in college a lot. And the refs are calling it, and she's had some foul trouble. She's had a lot of turnover trouble, but she's also been pretty good at times and shown like how dominant she can be in the WNBA. So like she's having ups and downs, which is I think what a lot of people probably expected. Not controversial to say.
She's a rookie.
She had her best game of the season last night. Only 3 turnovers, 21 points. Like, Caitlin, there was always going to be an adjustment period. And when it comes to Charles Barkley, like, there are really only 2 major incidents that I see of, like, former or current WNBA players talking about Caitlin. Diana Taurasi saying that she was going to have an adjustment period, that was the most overblown controversy ever. That was so stupid because, like, yeah, she has had an adjustment period. She was going to. Also, Diana Taurasi loves to talk shit. That's her whole thing. Not a big deal. The only moment outside of that was Cheryl Swoops, who just said a lot of like factual inaccuracies, and then she apologized. So like, I don't really see where this like hate is coming from because it's not real. It's manufactured.
Well, Angel Reese said it ain't just one team. I mean, she's not talking about the Aces when she says that.
Yeah, but she's right.
Well, I mean, but I'm just saying, like, that adds. Here's the problem, right?
There's 12 teams. It's a fact.
The problem is, here's the problem. The problem is there is a nuance to what Angel Reese is saying. It's right. You guys can't keep focusing on the one team that hasn't won a game just because of the one player. On the other hand, there is the expected rebuttal to the great new phenomenon. She sucks. It's kind of like Mike saying that Victor Wembanyama is like going to ruin the NBA and he's terrible and all that stuff, right? And so when you have the people having a nuanced take about that, it combines with the vitriol people who are just here for the shit show.
But Chuck was talking about players. He wasn't talking about fans, and he wasn't talking about... But to me, it sounded like he was just reading comments on Twitter. Yep. And I know this is rich coming from me. I know how hypocritical this sounds, but we all need to get offline because the Fever have been selling out games. She's been signing autographs nonstop. Caitlin Clark is getting tons of support and tons of, I mean, she's on national TV like every game. Like people are watching her and she's doing a pretty good job as a rookie. But the online hate and then saying it's coming from players that aren't, there to support her or whatever is like, those are 2 completely different things. And it's all getting jumbled into like one hot take that I don't think is right.
And I think what we got to realize is she got a Heatles effect going on. She get every team best shot every game. Yeah. She's selling out all these tickets. Everybody want to be the one to bring Caitlin Clark head to the game. So she getting all these folks best shots and still performing at this level as a rookie. Come on, man. Salute.
I was also thinking last night, the Storm. So the Storm's team has had a lot of changes coming into the season, and they're a pretty new team that's had to learn how to play with one another very quickly, similar to the Fever. And they've only won 1 game up until last night. And I was thinking that now that the Fever are like 0-5, no one wants to be the first team to lose to the Fever. So it's not even like a Caitlin Clark thing anymore. It's like, oh God, we can't be the first team to lose to them. They're 0-5 right now.
The internet is trying to like find things though. Like I saw some TikTok of like them doing a pregame dance and like Caitlin not being into it and like, look, she's not with her. And it's just like, it was just harmless. Like she wasn't even not doing anything. It's just the internet is looking for reasons to attack
let me
her.
ask you guys something about the internet, okay? Because I do find...
Al Gore made it.
I do find interesting that division sells, that celebrating Caitlin Clark is something that we can do watching television, but on the internet, it is a place that creates a great deal of division that feeds off of the division, and things that are divisive are chum to be thrown in the water that allows people to fight about things. And so if lonely man who's angry and repressed and doesn't like women after a lifetime of being rejected by women can have his anonymous viewpoint and attach it to the symbol that Caitlin Clark is by getting into that discussion, whether he cares about the WNBA sports or basketball or not, I believe the internet is filled with just an assortment of things that feed the metastasis of that division. Like it is it's a place for jokes. I'm not saying it's just for division, but I'm saying that when the division catches, it's easier for it to crackle than anything that resembles success, light, or positivity.
Yeah, and I don't know, like if that if that's what Charles Barkley's seeing, then that is a separate conversation than like the one that I think he was trying to start, which was that players aren't supporting Caitlin Clark and they should be uplifting her. And that whole conversation, that's a completely different thing. Like, yes, there's tons of toxicity online and tons of evil and hate. No one is disputing that. But I've also seen lately a lot of people, the divisiveness of was that turnover Caitlin's fault? Was that foul a foul or not? There's been a lot of that too, which like that's the type of sports shit that like is great. Like people arguing last night over the inbounds pass that went to Caitlin that she turned over at the end of the game when the Fever had a chance to take the lead late. I think there was like 11 seconds left on the clock. People arguing whether or not it was a good pass to her. And there was another play like a few games ago. People were arguing whether or not, I can't remember what it was, but it was like a whole thing with Caitlin and like those are separate things.
X's and O's.
And it like that, I really appreciate that you can post these clips online. People can argue about like very nitty gritty. Oh, it was the Brianna Stewart. It was the screen. She set a really hard screen and Caitlin like, and was like, what? Like, this is so mean. This screen, this mean. And it's like, no, one of Caitlin's teammates should have told her she had a screen coming because it was like totally in her blind side, right? I mean, like someone's supposed to call that
basketball.
out. That's basketball.
It's basketball.
These are
like,
different things that are happening.
I like, Jess, you're right, because then you took it to like lonely misogynists say, I hate women and I hate Caitlin Clark as a result. She's a woman ipso facto.
Is that the old movie voice from
That's
the 90s?
Guy.
Okay.
That's the guy who sits angry in his house, right?
Behind the times.
In a world. Exactly, that same guy.
In a world behind the times.
At the same time, I'm thinking about it as, this is what popularity breeds. It's the reason why people say, what's better? The NBA now with a different champion every year, or do you want a dynasty? I said, do you want money? You want a dynasty? Well, that's not fair. I'm like, exactly. So you have half the people who are like, this is awesome. This is the greatest thing. I'm alive to see it. And then you have the other half people like, to hell with these guys. Why do they have to win? I hope someone brings them to justice or whatever. And that's kind of the dynamic I think with Caitlin Clark is she is someone who brings a lot of attention, right? Positive attention. It's undeniable, right? With ratings and ticket sales, whatever. But because she is that thing that everyone said, this is awesome, this is the next best thing, there's automatically and always going to be an equal and opposite reaction of people like, why? What's so special about her? She couldn't even navigate a screen.
Right, and we got to also remember, bro, when Wemby came in the league, what we want to see Wemby do? Get dunked on. When Michael Jordan was in the league, it was an arena full of Utah Jazz fans rooting for Karl Dan Malone. So it's like, bro, we got to be able to stomach some of this stuff. It ain't all misogyny. Yeah. Some of it is X's and O's. Some folks just like delivery.
Some of it just fandom, right?
You did me.
Some people want to see Jewel Lloyd and Skylar Diggins-Smith play really well together because they're their favorite WNBA players. But yes, I think the other aspect of it is like, even if there are current or former players who are like, who don't like Caitlin Clark for whatever reason, they're entitled to that. Like, that's fine. And I don't think that you need to be like, have like a moral judgment on something that's very natural in sports.
So Jess, let me ask you, because you said you think Charles might be just reacting to social media commentary. Is it possible that Charles is also talking about people he talks to behind the scenes?
That is possible. I think if that's the case, then he should probably say that because, otherwise it's like, all right, cite your sources. Like, if that's the case, you don't have to say who it is, but you can say, like, I've talked to people in the league, I've talked to players, and I would like to know that that's where that's coming from, because I think publicly a lot of the players that have been asked about Caitlin Clark and have been asked about all these things have been very, very generally supportive and pretty normal about it.
Yeah, Jonquel Jones from the Liberty came out and was like, take it easy on Caitlin. You know, she's carrying an incredibly heavy load. Like, I don't know if we've seen in our lifetime outside of LeBron James a player come into a league and have this much pressure on them to perform. So I don't like when it's Charles Barkley saying it's all these WNBA players saying these things. That's just not accurate. I haven't heard anything. It's stupid goat talk.
Oh, but wait a minute though, Lucy. Charles just got on Twitter for the first time. He has not ever been social media active. So it's not just someone who's new to Twitter. It's somebody who's 60 and new to Twitter.
And don't understand algorithms. You searched it one time, bro, so that's all you're getting now.
but again, I think we also have to allow for he might have talked to, even if it's a player, behind, like, because I know this about players. I'm just talking about players in general. They say all the right things. Oh no, so and so, yeah, it's great. And then off camera, man, so and so. That's what the example I always bring up is Paul Pierce saying, "If I played with LeBron and Shaq, I'd have as many rings as Dwayne Wade." Like, and when he said that, I said, "You guys are all flipping out. Like, how dare he say he's as good as Dwayne Wade?" But I'm like, I'm telling you, there are a lot of players who don't have the Hall of Fame resume of Paul Pierce who feel the exact same way. It's the, man, if I had so-and-so and so, he ain't that good. He all right, but I'm just as good. My coach was hating on me, man. There's a lot of that sentiment as a player because you kind of need that. If you're one of there's 12 teams. There's, what's that?
144 players.
144 players in the world who get to play in this league. Absolutely, you have to have a little bit of like, to hell with her, man. I'm better than her. Y'all flipping out over her.
Well, what gets to be popular and just popular? Like, not even Taylor Swift gets to be that. Who gets to be, like, who gets it? I don't know that it's possible.
Dan, nothing. Do you remember the discourse about the Barbie movie?
Right.
It was like the highest grossing movie of the year, and people were like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
Since the dawn of mankind, we've cooked our food over an open flame and debated the best way to grill. One thing not up for debate, grilling and beer always go together. And not just any beer will do. Whether you barbecue Texas style or celebrate Wednesday with burgers and dogs, you need a beer that tastes great and is less filling, so you have more room for food. You need Miller Lite. As you guys may or may not know, I'm a pretty decent cook, especially behind the barbecue. So when I start the fire from my smoker on a hot day, really, the only thing that I have to worry about is what wood I'm going to use. The easiest decision for me is what I'll be drinking. And that's a nice ice cold can of Miller Lite. Oh, and by the way, here's a pro tip. It really goes well with brisket. Miller Lite keeps it simple, undebatable quality, and tastes as great as your barbecue. A perfect companion for grill masters across America. With the Miller Lite in hand, grilling doesn't just taste great, it tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right at your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan. Or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
Dan Le Batard.
I don't like smelly either.
Stugotz.
Women stay home in the kitchen where they belong.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
That's what I'm telling y'all, man. It's like, it's not, there's no part of this that's like foreign territory. It's quite the opposite. Like, this is it. This is it. Like, we are finally post gender politics, at least when it comes to the WNBA. And I think it's just like crazy fandom, just people.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, but wait a minute. Let's examine this for a second.
I'm an optimist.
Because pre-internet, I was blissfully unaware of the pervasive toxicity that has since spread. And I will say that overall, the feeling that the internet gives me is, while addictive and bringing me over to jokes, it brings more toxicity into my life than used to be there pre-internet. So I ask you guys, whether it's Game of Thrones or anything that by Hamilton, anything that by consensus is popular at the time. I know that Amin doesn't like Hamilton.
JuJu's got a good one.
JuJu doesn't like Hamilton either. Do you have any?
No, Blues Clues. I ain't never met nobody in the world that's not hate on Blues Clues.
Great nomination.
Bro. Like, who don't like Blues Clues, bro? If you don't like Blues Clues, you're a loser.
I don't know. I know some people who don't like Blues Clues. Not me.
What?
But I'm just saying I know some people.
Come on, Amin.
I know some people. I'm not going to name the names because, like Charles Barkley, I care about my friends. But
well, I don't know. First of all, you're giving Charles Barkley cover again and again that I'm not sure is accurate. We're going to play the sound in a second, but put on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. If you don't like Blues Clues, are you a loser? And I will tell you that I think it was the tipping point that I read that stunned me about Blues Clues, because children's television, I thought, was not something that was meant strategically to formulaically and with adults being manipulative ensnare children. Ensnare children.
Dan, you're about to be ensnared in a bad take here. You have confused two different social media conversations about two different programs that feature the word blue. You might as well be saying NYPD Blue is getting a weird pushback on
What have I confused?
Blues Clues is not the same as Bluey.
Oh, I thought he said Blues Clues. I thought that's what he said. I'm sorry, my
I
bad.
said Blues Clues. You were describing Bluey.
Yes.
No, I'm describing from the tipping point. Blue's Clues is a children's television show, is it not?
Yeah, they both are. Blue's Clues and Bluey are.
And Blue's Clues is the one in the tipping point that was very strategically organized to manipulate children into becoming addicted to morning television and making children, by consensus, love something that I didn't know was manipulative. I thought Sesame Street was simple.
Look, you get one paw print. That's the first clue. You put it in a notebook. Now what do you do? Woo! Blues Clues, Blues Clues.
Sit on the chair and think about it.
Forgive me, Amin, I still don't know the mistake that I'm making because I'm pretty sure the show I'm talking about is indeed something that was meant to manipulate children into becoming addicted strategically because adults, it was sort of what the YouTube algorithm is or what the FaceTime and what all the algorithms are that ensnare you, but for children. And regardless, the popular television thing, something like Game of Thrones before season 8, Sopranos, Breaking Bad, what gets to be just popular today or mostly popular? Because you mentioned Mike Ryan and Wembanyama. Mike Ryan is one of the few, very few, a loud minority saying Wembanyama is not going to be special. Most people understand that he is.
I got one. Everybody loves Dolly Parton.
Oh, that's true. There you go. That's 9 to 5.
Except Jolene.
I thought you were going to say Raymond.
Yeah.
Oh, Jolene. Universally unpopular. Jolene.
That's a great one.
Did you guys know that she wrote Jolene and I Will Always Love You on the same day?
Ah!
On the same day.
I have this really cool coffee table book. I'll bring it in. It's just Dolly Parton's life and outfits.
Oh,
it's so
Is
cool.
Rhinestone in it?
Yes.
Oh, great. Rhinestone's a great movie. You should listen to the Cinephobe episode.
Will
about it.
Ferrell.
No, it's a lot of people hate
People
Will.
hate Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
Some people,
Man,
I
salute
think
to Will.
people will be critical of his movies, but you don't dislike him.
No, Tony Medley, a Cinephobe staple, hates on Will Ferrell every single time.
Oh,
and
just Tony Medley.
Well,
That must be the consensus.
Look, Tony Medley. We're not going to disrespect Tony Medley on this show, brother.
I know who Tony Medley is. I don't think my sister Jessica knows who Tony Medley is. Who is Tony Medley?
I don't.
Tony Medley is a movie critic whose website we discovered early on in the Cinephobe process, and he hates a lot of different things.
Wait, was this the really long review that Zach Harper read during the episode I came on?
Yes, absolutely.
I was wondering what he was reading.
I mean, my brother, I love you. Black History Month was a couple of months ago, but you need to take your ass to the penalty box for that Tony Medley clear out. No, sir.
Well, I can't promote my show, brother.
Get out of here.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for boring.
Oh, that wasn't boring. What the hell was a lot of things. It was self-serving. It wasn't boring.
What was that?
Denzel Perriman, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Denzel Perriman said that Jim Harbaugh reminds him of Will Ferrell. And I don't know which Will Ferrell character Denzel Perriman is thinking he's seeing when Jim Harbaugh comes into the room in character. Can you just finally play, please, the Charles Barkley sound that for some reason Amin insists on saying that Charles Barkley is doing a bunch of journalistic reporting and protecting his sources here. This isn't just Charles Barkley being Charles Barkley.
You women out there, y'all petty, man. Hey, LeBron, you're 100% right on these girls hating on Caitlin Clark. Y'all petty girls. I expect men to be petty because we're the most insecure group in the world.
Oh, you are.
Y'all should be thanking that girl for getting y'all ass private charters, all the money and visibility she bringing to the WNBA. Don't be petty like dudes. Listen, what she's accomplished, give her flowers. Stop being petty, all you women out there. She got y'all ass charters. She bringing all y'all this money to the table, but y'all being petty like dudes. LeBron, you are 100% right. Y'all girls, stop being petty. Caitlin Clark, thank you for bringing all that money and shine to the WNBA.
Do you think the people in the TNT room scatter when they hear him start a thought, you women out there?
Zagaki, what the hell was that?
I was like, woof. Right away, I'm just like, oof.
And LeBron was at the house like, what am I watching? What the hell?
What was wrong with that?
My fedora.
LeBron, you're right. Yeah, LeBron at his house, like, oh no, Chuck.
Don't say you women out there and then just bring me into it.
LeBron, you are right.
LeBron's right.
The girls repeatedly might have been.
That's another one. Yes. That's going to happen as the powerful men on television age out. I know I have made a number of mistakes, and there is a lot of learning out there to be done. But I think the definition of girls is under 18, correct? Like the formal definition of when you refer to a woman as a girl or when you refer to her as a woman, the cutoff age is 18 years old, right?
It's not the GNBA.
That's right. That's not even college basketball, isn't even the GNBA. I did want to talk about the game last night between Minnesota and Dallas because it was a little bit stunning to me. Not that Dallas could win, because of course Dallas could win a game or the series. They've got two of the best players in the world. But what Dallas was able to do in the paint against Minnesota was confusing to me. And I'm going to say it's because Luka and Kyrie are otherworldly talents that can just break even the number one defense in the league. Because what Kyrie did in that first half, I mean, I didn't understand. Now, I've been watching this guy for a long time, and I don't understand what he does around the rim, how he does it at that size. But to do it against that team and that size in the paint was something that I was not expecting. It's not that I didn't expect Dallas to win, but the way that they won was surprising to me. So we'll get into that with Amin next.
Summer requires extraordinary hydration that's built for everyday dehydrating moments. Especially in Miami, we know that it gets very, very hot. You go outside for 6 seconds, you're sweating, and you're possibly dehydrated. Liquid IV hydrates you with benefits like electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients, with 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients in a single stick. It's clear why Liquid IV is the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. Guys, I love Liquid IV. I get the sugar-free lemon lime version. They should have my picture on it. How much I drink it, how much I use it. The sugar-free has no bad stuff, only good stuff. I use it when I go to the gym, when I'm playing hoops, when I'm going out on the boat, mix it in with a little bit of ice. Keeps me hydrated all day long. Just tear, pour, and live more. With 1 stick of Liquid IV plus 16 ounces of water, hydrates better than with water alone. Turn your ordinary water into extraordinary hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code DAN at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code DAN, D-A-N, at liquidiv.com.
Dan Le Batard.
He seems like a not nice guy, and he's always been a not nice guy. I don't care for him, and I hope he has the day he deserves.
Oh,
wow. Stugotz.
I hope he has the day he deserves.
That's how I get people when they're really mean to me. I'm not like, go F yourself. I'm like, I hope you have the day you deserve.
It's a great kind insult. Yes.
It's beautiful.
It's leaving it to the cosmos to sort it out.
That's a less southern, bless your heart.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
So Dan, Bluey is a dog family, and Blue's Clues is a dog detective. See, Bluey has a nice family, a nice dad, a nice mom.
They're both girl dogs, though,
Yep,
right?
They are, which a lot of people are surprised. Bluey is a girl. And it's just it's a damn good family. And it has nothing to do with Blue's Clues, which is a detective show. So I just want to clear that up for the audience.
After the third paw print, you sit down in your thinking chair and you think. And you think some more, and then you think with a little tune on it, you know?
I appreciate the clarification. I either miscommunicated or simply got it wrong. What I was trying to articulate to the group is when I read for the first time how adults had created Blue's Clues with a lot of formulaic, strategic things that are meant to keep your child in front of the television in a way that you, the parent, doesn't understand how to make your child that interested in anything. I was startled because I thought children's television was less sophisticated than that.
We should do that with this show. Yeah. You know what I mean? Get the kids locked in, numbers go up.
And you know it.
We got to get that demo. We got to get them hooked early to the addictive stuff. Start them young. Answer my question, Amin, on how it is that the Mavericks were able to do that in the paint to the Timberwolves, where I haven't even looked at the number. It's just the way the game went. I saw that Dallas was doing a lot of scoring inside that Minnesota was not doing.
Yeah,
and Minnesota had a great shooting night from three. Like Minnesota losing that game at home because Dallas was able to do whatever it wanted on high percentage shots near the rim is not how I had that game going.
Yeah, Dan. Full disclosure, I don't know what happened after halftime because I was at my kid's graduation, so all my analysis comes from the first half of that game, which is good.
How about we just defer to the experts who did watch it? I would tell you, brother.
My bad, man. I'm sorry for being a dad.
It's a testament to Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns not playing like their size. They play like finesse. They play like paper soldiers. You feel me? So when you attack that paint and you got enforcers in there, they know what to do. They're more so finesse players who play a little defense, but the defensive player of the year, ironically, he's just not dominating the paint defensively like we saw him have to take up that challenge with the Joker.
Well, and what was interesting with this group in particular is Minnesota played a lot of drop coverage last night. And Mike Conley talked after the game about how that wasn't initially the game plan, but ultimately that's kind of where it went and that was a mistake. And I don't know if that's communication from the coach to the players or the players not necessarily executing, but you saw it all game long. Gobert playing in drop coverage, and Kyrie took advantage in the first half, and then ultimately Luka took advantage all in pick and roll actions in the second half.
In the fourth quarter, Luka, that was interesting to watch. Kyrie carried them in the first half. Minnesota shoots the hell out of the ball, but Kyrie can't miss and is somehow making all these floaters over their Giants. And then fourth quarter time comes, and Doncic just takes the entire game over. I mean, you didn't see it though.
I didn't see the second half. I saw the part that Kyrie killed. I can speak to that.
And to Dan's point, Kyrie can do this. That's why he turns it on in the last round in the second half, because he wants to get his team involved. Last night, the lights were bright, so you need to be able to follow someone into the darkness. And he took the mantle, and he could play like this all the time, but he wants to get his teammates involved. And once he see Luka wake up, that's when, okay, cool, my job is to facilitate now. I mean,
was this like a real graduation, or was this one of those little kid graduations where like it's the end of the school year and they just do a whole thing even though the kid didn't actually graduate?
It was
something?
8th to 9th grade, so
that's kind of
we're going to a different school next year, high
Okay.
school next year.
You couldn't skip that one. For
Can't
game
skip
one.
it. No, can't. Well, not for the game. No, especially because I was flying out afterward. That was the other thing. It was
My daughter has a kindergarten graduation next week.
Kindergarten graduations happen.
No, it's ridiculous.
No. It happens because like they don't know. Like, I can't wait till I get to the 8th grade for a graduation. So you have to kind of set them up. Now, the hard part is when they get to the first grade, they get done, and they're like, well, where's my graduation? Like, nah, buddy, that doesn't happen until later.
The crazy thing about happening until later as well is Jaden Daniels. You can't waste these games.
Jaden McDaniels?
Jaden McDaniels, excuse me, pardon me, Jaden. He is playing phenomenal, bro. He woke up during that Denver series, and if he can play like this and Ant-Man can find his win and the team can get their legs under them, they're going to pose that as a problem.
Dan, if I told you that a team was going to shoot 6 of 25 from 3, and the other one was going to shoot 18 of 49. In today's NBA, even in these years' playoffs, you would have said, wow, the team that hit 18 threes demolished the other one. It would have looked like Celtics versus Heat Game 3 or something like that. And instead, what we got was something in the mud, because I think the other thing that we're not talking about that we need to talk about is that this Dallas team has been a tremendous defensive team since the trade deadline. Defensively, they've been better. And it's not just because P.J. Washington and Gafford and moving Lively to the bench and all those. Yes, absolutely. But Kyrie Irving is playing defense at a level that he hasn't played before. Luka Doncic, I would say, is playing defense at a level he hasn't played before. And now you've got a system and you've got everybody bought in. It makes life a lot more difficult for the opponent and makes it easier for the Mavericks offense. They don't have to be the greatest offense of all time. They can just be great in pockets.
12th grade is the only acceptable year for there to be a graduation.
I don't agree.
What do you even do at kindergarten graduation?
Nothing. You sit
Clap
there.
for 'em. Well, every graduation, by the way, there's nothing to do.
My daughter was
There was
selected.
a bunch of speech. There was a bunch of speeches. Look. I like it when they honor kids. Hey, this kid was great in the community. Whatever. Okay, give them their thing and they take a little picture. But when we have like the speeches of like the times we had, I'm like, oh, it's 8th grade.
You're not
Relax.
going to remember these times.
My daughter's been practicing a kindergarten song that's to like one of the Grease songs, like kindergarten had me a
Yes.
blast.
Yeah, they do that everywhere.
Kindergarten went by so fast.
Wait, that's kind of cute.
No, I know it is
Oh,
cute. I can pull up the
goddamn.
lyrics. I've been singing it with her for 2 days straight.
My oldest graduation from kindergarten, they had to do like it was Taylor Swift Shake It Off, but instead of Shake It Off, it said first grade. First grade. Kindergarten is day. I can't remember the song. This is 10 years ago, whatever, but.
All right, let's send him out again. 2 minutes for boring. Let's send him out again. Get him out of here.
It's not boring.
You got to remember.
We're talking about graduation.
Penalty, 2 minutes for boring.
If you're going to go down the path of I have this song that I want to sing to you, you've got to remember it.
I didn't say I have this song that I want to sing.
Well,
I said I was just trying to help him out.
You know who also had a song that they didn't?
Just for a second, Chris Cody's. There it is.
Wow, your daughter has a great voice.
Yes, Chris Cody is getting our video blocked from YouTube.
This can't
Everybody
be
quiet it
copyrighted.
down. Let's clear it out.
This can't be copyrighted.
When Chris Cody picks up his phone and has an idea, we all have to. Why are you still here? We all have to get out of the way.
Yeah, even the monetization be damned. It's just the idea happened. But like I said, bro, the idea that the bench from Dallas could step up the way they did versus you got little cousin Alexander Walker. He put up 2 points. I feel like it's players like him. Naz Reid had a good game, but it's going to take their bench stepping up because Dallas's bench is ready. P.J. Washington can activate at any quarter, and that corner three is going to be there, especially with the ball penetration from Kyrie and Luka. Them wings wide open. So I think that if Minnesota can stiffen up the defense, it can pose a problem. But, man, with Cat playing like out there on the wing and all that, that's going to leave that paint wide open.
Both teams have something to take away from last night's game that can make them feel positive moving forward. Because if you're Dallas, you were able to do that with just your stars going off and your role players not doing anything offensively. 6 for 25 from 3. But their defense in stifling the stars of Minnesota in Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards has to make you feel great. But if you are Minnesota, your stars didn't do anything offensively, and you were still right in that game.
You lost by 3.
You lost by 3 points. Jaden McDaniels
but you
playing
shot
well.
the hell out of the ball, though. You shot the ball from 3, and you allowed too many easy shots. There are a couple of things that I would say that are interesting here. This is the first time in the conference finals that two teammates playing together in the conference finals for the first time have both gone for 30 since Steph and Durant. That's obviously good company to be keeping. When you talk about McDaniels awakening, all year that person has been a problem on the perimeter guarding people. He seems very difficult to get around. He bothered Jamal Murray a great deal. But I want to put on the poll at Le Batard Show, are Gobert and Cat paper soldiers? Because JuJu has accused them of being paper soldiers because Cat likes to roam around the perimeter. It's easier out there. It's nicer out there. You don't have to be bothered. Look, man, I don't know about you guys. I really don't know how you feel about this. But me, whenever I see an NBA player grab a rebound and swing his elbows, I'm like, I would not want to be near any of what's happening out there. I'd like to float around the perimeter and not be anywhere near a 6'10" person who's decided to grab a rebound and swing his elbows around. The reputation that Cat has is he is a player for the modern age, that grande por gusto is what they call like Brook Lopez, big for no reason, because he floats around the perimeter in the modern game. But Cat's coming off a game in which they beat Jokic, at least in part because those paper soldiers were a problem for Jokic. And so right. I'm not willing to go from soldier to paper soldier just because they lost a game at home.
No, I'm not. You're right about that for sure. I'm not saying that they are. It's just the fact that they have these disappearing acts, like the Celtics, for example. You can't be a championship-determined team and take games like this where you have the matchup. You have P.J. Washington guarding you, Big Cat. Let's get that in the post. Like, we don't need to be shooting all these threes if you can master your craft. Just like Rudy. If Rudy could learn one post move and just do it all the time, he would average 25 points a game because he got people on his back. He just get the ball and tip it somewhere and bat it out. Brother, it's the skill setting of these people who I think that could improve game to game.
But he can't do that, right? I mean, because I remember Shaq did not go from what he was to perpetual MVP until he learned how to do some things in the post. He did learn that later in his career. That was not something that was in Shaq's games in the 20s. He would just bowl over people and be physically stronger than them. Gobert's not going to learn that. That ship has sailed. There will be no learning of the Gobert post game. That's not going to happen.
Well, I would say Shaq wasn't just bowling over people. He had incredible footwork and timing and touch on things that weren't dunks as well that made him hard. But more importantly, the song goes, in first grade saying it's going to be all right, but I did grow up. I'm ready to move on. Ready for first grade. That's how it went.
Maybe sing it the way the song goes.
I don't
so
know how
we
the
can
song goes.
Hostage.
I vaguely know the song.
The Grease one's a lot better.
Yeah, well, look, man, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, so I know that song a lot better than I know the Taylor Swift song. But
We had to sing The Climb by Miley Cyrus. So we would get on the stage, sing The Climb by Miley Cyrus, and then we walked off, and the teachers would stand there, and they would play My Wish by Rascal Flatts. My wish for you.
Since the dawn of mankind, we've cooked our food over an open flame and debated the best way to grill. One thing not up for debate, grilling and beer always go together. And not just any beer will do. Whether you barbecue Texas style or celebrate Wednesday with burgers and dogs, you need a beer that tastes great and is less filling, so you have more room for food. You need Miller Lite. As you guys may or may not know, I'm a pretty decent cook, especially behind the barbecue. So when I start the fire from my smoker on a hot day, really, the only thing that I have to worry about is what wood I'm going to use. The easiest decision for me is what I'll be drinking. That's a nice ice cold can of Miller Lite. Oh, and by the way, here's a pro tip. It really goes well with brisket. Miller Lite keeps it simple, undebatable quality, and tastes as great as your barbecue. A perfect companion for grill masters across America. With the Miller Lite in hand, grilling doesn't just taste great, it tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right at your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan. Or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.